Hello, Needham. It is the Super Bowl of real estate. It's the spring market here in Needham, and we are happy to welcome you to What's My House Worth? My name is Rob Ticktin. This is Ryan McDonnell. We are realtors with Hawthorn Properties, and today we're here to talk about the sales data for the month of
March.
That's correct, the month of March, which isn't necessarily reflective of the spring market, more reflective, of course, Ryan, of the winter market, but
I mean, he jumped in. I mean, he didn't give me a chance to answer.
yeah, I know. I didn't know how long to give you, and I didn't want to surprise you twice in the opening, so I apologize for that.
I need to be eased into the show.
All right, so let's ease you in by looking at the sales data and see how things look as we reflect back over the month of March. Wow, that's a pretty healthy number,
Yeah,
Ryan.
it is, Rob. 26 sales this past March of single-family homes in Needham. That's up. I mean, last year in March we had 18 sales, so that's a pretty significant jump. Prices are up also over last year. We're over $1 million for both the average list and the average sales price. Both of those numbers were under $1 million last year.
Well, which is interesting too, because I think it was the first 8 sales of the month were all under $1 million, so it was looking like it was going to be a very low number, but we had some biggies towards the back end of the month that
it
drove
got
it up.
real as the month went on. Our percentages, Rob, 97% of list price. We got 94.2 of original list. Couple of properties with some pretty steady price drops that'll contribute to that. Average sale price per square foot at $374. That's up. Last month it was at $317, so that's a big increase over last month.
For sure, with a lot of sales too.
Yeah, and 74 average days on market. That's up over a year ago, but coming down. I think it'll continue to come down as we get into the craziness of the spring market.
Well, we certainly came down last month in terms of sales. We only had 12 to talk about,
Right.
so fortunately this time around we have some content we can fill up this show with.
Much less filler.
Yes, correct. But we always have time for filler. We
Yep.
can always squeeze it in there when we want to. Last 6 months, though, as you take a look at the graph, and then you can see that jump there, more than doubling from February. No real surprise. Looking over the last couple years, Ryan, that usually from March to April, kind of looking forward, it stays actually kind of level. And then it's May, June, July, where you really start to see the numbers climb. But kind of a typical trend there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, the past 6 Marches, though, it's still, I mean, we still are looking pretty healthy for this March compared to Marches of previous years.
Yes, and let's take a look at that since you've led us right into it. And there's the month of March, and how about that? March only gets better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
26, that's going to be tough to top.
Yep.
But who knows? So there's the macro data for the month of March. Now we're going to dive into the individual sales. We're going to start low, Ryan, work our way up. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it sounds great. Let's do it.
Okay. How do you like it? Do you like us starting low sales price and climbing? Have you ever thought about?
I've just grown so accustomed to it.
Yeah, I mean, because there's always, we could always do it alphabetically too, which would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Well, because people could, maybe they're looking for a sale and then they'll know if they're before or after it.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll do that next month and see
right.
what kind of feedback we get.
Okay.
54 Lakin Street is the first listing, and this would probably be somewhere in the middle if we were doing the alphabetical, but I digress. Sells for $552,500. Not a lot of days on market there.
No, didn't give the market a lot of chance to react to this quote listing. It's, Lakin, it's on the corner of Taylor and Lakin. And it's 14,000 square foot lot, Rob. That's not a bad little size.
Right. Well, somebody watching this might say, "Wow, 816 square feet, and it goes for 552." But in actuality, I mean, that's when you're talking about a lot of that size in that neighborhood. It's a land purchase.
It is a land. It's a land purchase for sure, and it's a good deal on that land purchase. I would say for that size lot on a. The corner of Taylor and Lakin is not exactly a well-traveled corner.
Yeah, and that's true. We haven't really discussed Lakin. I can't remember the last house that sold on Lakin, but we are going to have another one coming up very shortly, so we'll have more on that in a moment. Next listing is a house that we visited before, at least on the show, Ryan. 541 Central Avenue, sells for $580. This one sold in June of 2016 for $577,500.
And then right back on the market November of 2016. So 5 months later, really. But it went on the market for $630. So if you're the seller, you're pulling the old, I want to tack the commission on top of my asking price.
Yeah.
This is, you do run the risk of it not working.
Right. And, give it a shot, though.
Okay. But, that's 68 days and you're right back to what you bought it for 5 months earlier, which is really what the market's going to pin you on.
Right. And which is what you would have probably gotten for it had you listed it at $579 from the gate.
Agreed.
Next listing is 24 Dogwood Lane. This is a nice size lot in a really good neighborhood. Sells for $600. Feels about right to me, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, Dogwood Lane is a cul-de-sac. It's in Broadmeadow. It's a great little street. The problem, I say, with these properties on this side of Dogwood is in the back of the property. You've got a big Eversource easement,
and you can see the power lines there in the background.
You've got the power lines and you've got the train. So it's somewhat encumbered. And it's a little limited in terms of what you can do expansion-wise because of the presence of the easement. But like you said, I think $600,000 is a reasonable and a good sale price here.
Yeah, lots of turnover in that neighborhood, I would say, over the last few years as well.
Right, because the whole other side of the street's been developed.
Correct.
But there's limited upside to trying to redevelop on this side of the street because of the aforementioned easement / power lines / train.
Okay, very good.
There you go.
Next listing, anybody who's taken their kids to any sort of practices over the years probably knows this street well. It's 12 Glenwood Road. It's the street that leads right to the back of Pollard Middle School. Not a very big lot, 5,200 square feet, but $625. I feel like this is a nice little buy.
I do too, and it's funny because like you mentioned, like taking kids to practice. Been on this street a million times, but I never really knew what the name of it was.
Right, I know.
So this was fun just to kind of, Glenwood, where's that? Like, oh, of course.
Yeah, Glenwood.
So, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next listing is 50 Lawton Road. This is also on a quiet street, and this is a house that we've talked about previously. I mean, this is going to be happening more and more as we do the show for so many years. But this one sold in 2015 for $550,000. So nice little bump there over the course of 2 years.
Yep, a couple of updates in the course of this owner's ownership. HVAC, for instance, that's one, and that's always a value-added improvement that you can make on a home, even in the short term, as you see here.
Right, no half bath on the first floor in this house, just one bathroom on the second floor. And we're back to Lakin, 42 Lakin Street. So we started the show with, 54 Lakin Street, and this is 42 Lakin Street, and so kind of a package deal here, right?
Yeah, it's the same buyer and it's the same seller. And the interesting thing is the lots are almost identical in size, the 14,375 square feet, but the pricing is different. So 54 was on the corner of Taylor and Lakin. This one is next door. So you're wondering, I mean, they both look like they're redevelopment candidates, and when you combine the two, you're just under 30,000 square feet. So which would really get this developer 3 lots. So you're wondering if there's anything in the works to try to acquire some more square footage on one of the other abutters to try to get to a 3-lot, be able to subdivide this and make 3 lots for the price of 2.
Oh, for sure. Massive.
Which would be what we would refer to as a bonanza.
Yes, a bonanza. That's correct, with a capital B.
So there you have it.
Okay, 497 Greendale Avenue is the next listing. So let me ask you something. Were the other Greendale houses offended when it said on the listing sheet, this is not your average Greendale house?
I thought maybe perhaps it was just referring to the market history of this house when it was talking about it, not your average Greendale listing.
Well, that is for sure. So why don't you talk about that a little bit?
I'm just gonna run you through it.
Okay,
right?
take your time.
So
yeah.
we'll do this quickly. In September of 2016, we have a listing at $635. Then shortly thereafter, we have a price reduction to $619. Then it goes contingent in October, back on market a week later. Contingent in November, back on market a day later. Then withdrawn in November, then back on the market in February of 17 for $639. Then it has a price increase of $900 the next day.
Interesting.
Then it goes contingent in February, on the 16th of February for $699.
Right.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
You don't see that every day.
You never see it, actually.
You never see it.
But about the house, though.
There was a house.
Yeah,
that's right. There was also a house.
Right, in setback, that's why you probably couldn't see it. But nice big front yard, nice sized backyard, bigger lot. I mean, I did think it was a pretty charming house. I don't like when we walked to Mitchell.
I just couldn't get past the market history.
The market history. No, I understand.
That's as unique as it gets.
It was drawing me in a little bit too. I fought the urge to dive too deep.
I almost didn't even look through the rest of the slides.
Whoa,
I was just baffled by that one. But that's interesting. So there you go. Not your average Greendale house for sure.
Okay, so next up is 10 Evans Road. This is runs parallel to Great Plain. It's in between Ridgeway and Broadmeadow. Sells for $700,000, Ryan. Walk to train.
Yeah, for sure, walk to train. This is another one of those roads that you just don't necessarily know the name of, or you're not sure where it is. But this house, I think the only thing I felt for this house is it's a cute little cave, very charming. It's a move-in condition. But when you're sitting in the living room, looking out the front window, you remember you're looking at the side of a new home that's being built on Ridgeway. That's on a very narrow lot. So the house is is quite deep.
Right.
So you're kind of looking at the side view of this house that's right across the street from you, and that was not there probably 6 months ago.
Right.
But,
good observation.
Yeah.
You need to know the town well in order to know that. Like you said, most people probably don't even know where Evans is.
Well, there you go.
729 Greendale Avenue. We're back to Greendale.
Yep.
Looking at a house that you and I both had the opportunity to walk through when it first went on the market. It wasn't on the market for very long.
No,
That's
sure
for
wasn't.
sure. 4 days. This is right across the street from the
Modera.
Correct. But still, it was a flip. The developer bought this in 2016 for $473,000. Puts a couple $100,000 in, maybe a little bit more, and there you go.
Yep.
Right?
There you have it.
Anything else? Did I miss anything?
That is about as well executed of a flip as you're going to see. It's very clean, very quick, and they did a nice job.
Did you see the disclosure on the listing sheet? It said, due to timing of sale and Mother Nature, buyers will need to reseed the lawn.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting.
I don't know. I mean, go ahead and blaming things on Mother Nature.
Yeah, I know. It felt like it was a little bit of a cheap shot.
Mother Nature fights back, so just be warned.
Yeah, I know you want to say she's fighting back today, but resist the urge. 58 Lawton Road is the next listing, and here we have another house with no bathroom on the first floor. There's one in the second, one in the basement, but more space than the other one we looked at. Sells for $740,000. No garage either.
No, big lot though, 13,000 square feet, but it's narrow and deep.
Yeah, right.
As a lot of those lots are on Lawton.
Yeah. But it's nice. It's deep, and the house is brought up, so it's a nice big backyard.
Yeah, a lot of outdoor space there.
Lots of outdoor space at 7th South Street as well. This is a big lot that's on the corner of South and Great Plain Avenue. Any thoughts on this one, Ryan?
I mean, it's just under 20,000 square feet. So we mentioned the potential for multiple lots that here as well, but you're just short of that $20,000 threshold. And with this house, and then the two abutting it on Great Plain as you go towards town, all three will have new owners within months of each other.
Interesting. That's breaking news right there.
That is breaking news.
We need a breaking news music thing.
Like
Yeah, we need one of those.
Okay.
Can we work on that?
We can probably fit that in.
That would be good, because I feel like we have breaking news about every 14 months or so. 43 Fay Lane is the next listing. I feel like this one checks off, a number of boxes in the sense quiet neighborhood, good sized lot, 2-car garage, which is nice, attached.
Yeah. It's got some updates.
Yes, not including the security system.
Right. Yeah, I have a comment on that. But also, did you notice it was under agreement for like 2 months? And then it went back on market, and then it went under agreement a couple days later.
That's a long time to be under agreement
Yeah,
to go
so
back on market.
I wonder if something happened with the deal, and so like, all right, it's off, but then maybe the buyer was able to remedy whatever, and just get right back in a couple days later, because that does seem like a long time to go and then go back on the market.
Right, so they reconciled.
Yeah, maybe. But how do you feel if you're the seller and your listing agent is putting security system inoperable on your listing?
Yeah, you're inviting crime.
They weren't robbed.
Right. Even the neighbors aren't happy about that.
Exactly. Whoa. I mean, don't tell me.
But when
key is under the mat also.
Security system inoperable, but when it does work, the code is 3518. Good observation.
I found that interesting.
Very good.
Anywho.
80 Locust Lane is
out
the
to
next
the
listing.
outskirts, Rob.
Out to the outskirts. This one built in 1963, Ryan.
Yeah, a lot of those on Locust and those neighboring streets, the raised ranches, they're all built about the same time. This one had some updates. Has things as a generator, which is always fun. New HVAC, hot water tank was updated. Over an acre lot. So it's amazing though. You put that house in right by town, and what's it selling for?
Significantly more.
Yeah.
Right? Probably. Geez, good question. 900? Eights?
Probably around when they listed it.
Right.
Anywho. Okay.
All right. So we move on to the ladder streets.
Uh-huh.
Are we going with ladder district?
No.
No. So that's off the table.
It is.
All right.
They're the ladder streets. I mean, I guess, are they combined a district?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think you could make the case. 8 Wilshire Park is the listing. This is on the corner. A lot of people probably familiar with this house.
Yep, corner Great Plain.
Corner Great Plain and Wilshire. And it was also a flip like the one we talked about on Greendale. The developer paid $540,000 for this one.
Well, yeah, I think it flipped mid-flip. Because the original sale was for $445 in December 2015. Then it trades for $540 in May of 2016. Then we see the bulk of the work done, and then here we are at $905.
That doesn't sound like a flip and mid-flip. That sounds like a double flip.
Yeah.
Like one person does no work and makes a little bit of money. One person does work and makes money.
Maybe, but it was a pretty thorough renovation of this house.
Oh, all right, okay.
So plus a little bit of an addition over the garage.
Okay, next up, 64 Hawthorn. 64 Hawthorn.
I mean, of
Avenue.
all the words you can't pronounce, it's Hawthorn.
I know, interesting. Not to mention, there's another connection. What's that, Ryan?
Well, we listed this house.
Correct.
I swear, I've been doing this now for, how long have we been doing this? Well over a decade.
Okay.
And I've never seen anything like this. The conditions of the open houses at this property on a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday, there's probably 300 people went through this house.
Yeah.
A lot of them at the same time. I mean, it was crazy. It was the early stages of the spring market. This is a turnkey house listed for under $1 million in an A+ Needham neighborhood, and it brought people out of their winter hibernation mode.
Yep. Kicked off the spring market.
Yeah, it went hot and heavy. Multiple offers. A very happy seller and a very happy buyer. I might add.
Yeah, nice, Ryan.
Which is the thing, you turn with the bidding wars and everybody's frustrated and it stinks to be on the short end of that stick. Mm-hmm. But when you're on the other end of that stick, you see how happy people are. It's really kind of nice.
It makes you get out of bed every day.
That's right.
It's nice. 520 South Street's the next listing, and we saw this house as well before it was on the market, and this was a very, very, very unique property in the sense of, the layout of the house, the way it was set on the lot. It was a big lot.
Everything.
But it's your deal of the month, so why don't you talk about it?
I mean, it's on the corner of Webster and South Street as you're heading, back into like the Wildwood, Box Hill neighborhood. It just needs so much work. It's my deal of the month for the seller because I think that you have to renovate the house. Like, you're not moving into this house. It needs too much. Really the only thing that it has been done, it has a new roof, and it has a new boiler, which are two good things to have, but everything else has probably not been touched since the 60s. So I just feel like you're getting into this for $1 million and you've just got a lot of work to do. And I hope that the buyer of this house is fully prepared for what they have in store for them, because it is a lot. It is everything.
All right.
So that's why when we looked at it, we thought maybe this was 9s at the high end of its range. We would like to have seen it, maybe high 8s.
Yeah.
But $1 million and you got your hands full. So.
Yes.
But it's a cool house.
It's a cool property.
Potential. It's a cool property. It's a big lot, but it's a lot to take on.
Alrighty. Back and forth. We're going to Greendale Avenue, so let's hop back over there. 664. Sells for 1.2. This is kind of a unique property. Did you see that on the Google Maps?
Yeah.
It really stands alone. It's on the 128 side of Greendale, but there's nothing around it in terms of
37,000 square foot lot. Rob, this is as real estate agents go, this is a tough house to comp.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on Greendale. It's not like any of the other houses on Greendale.
And it has an indoor pool.
There's an indoor pool. It's a gigantic lot. There's total solar. There's a solar system in the house, not a solar system, but
it's not that big.
But so I mean, how do you price this house? You just, and I think they did pretty well. I mean, 14 days they got close to asking, so it sounds like it looks like she got it right.
Yeah.
The only thing that I thought was weird was when you're looking through the pictures, it's like, kitchen, family room, living room, pool. Yeah. Then like dining room, staircase, bed to the pool is just right smack in the middle of it. I thought that was
which is appropriate because it's smack dab in the middle of the house,
yes.
Right?
Really grabs you with that pool.
Next up,
good job to listing agent on that one.
Yes, very good. Okay, make sure you get that in there. 97 Great Plain Avenue is the next listing. This is a new construction home. Was on the market for
a while.
A while. Yep.
Another tough one to price.
To price, exactly. Agreed.
Easy access to Route 128 may be an understatement.
That's without a doubt. It's right next to 128. I think most of our viewers probably are familiar with this house or recognize it.
Right across from St. Bart's.
Correct. 564 Central Avenue is the next listing. This one, this house has been kind of on and off the market since quite a bit since 2006, really.
Since 2000, but it hasn't sold ever.
No, finally.
So same owner, bunch of different prices. It's a bunch of different looks too, because it's been overhauled a little bit since the last time it was on the market.
Right, but it wasn't priced well below market value after all, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, it was priced at one point at 1,349.
Yeah.
So the last time it went on at 1,299, which is where we ended up with the sale price at 1,27. But it's a unique house. I think it was a custom build in 06.
Yeah.
Then they tried to sell it right after that. 3
in a row we've had now that are tough to price for sure. Whereas the next few, we're going to kind of go through some new construction here that all have a lot of similar characteristics. I think they could kind of learn a lot from each other, right?
Okay, sure.
As we all could. 18 Noanet Road is the first house, new construction. This one, so, kind of keep these in mind, which one you kind of like the most.
Yeah, so this one was new in 2014.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. So then
they rented.
It traded for 139 in 2014.
Oh.
And then I think there might have been a tenant in there. The pictures made it look like it was, or were taken, I think, when it was built.
Okay, all right.
But then there has been an owner in between the builder and this now current owner.
Okay, so this one sells for 135. Thank you for clarifying that, Ryan.
Not a problem.
Next up is 48 Fairview
Yes.
Road, which is, now this is a new construction.
Okay, yes, we can agree on that.
It's in quotes, so that came from somewhere.
Yep.
And this one sells for 1,375 on the market for 171 days.
Purchased for 602.
The lot was.
Yes.
Okay. Next up, 16 John Street sells for 13890, so just $15,000 more. Would you prefer Fairview or John Street? You and your druthers.
I would probably take Fairview, just because John is, it's right off of Central. I think Fairview's in a little bit more of a neighborhood.
Well, no, John is neighborhoody.
It is ish.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Fairview is neighborhooder.
All right. We make up words on this show, and that's fine.
But I don't know about the third floor boasting a great room, because in my opinion, a great room implies kitchen open to a large family area. But that's definitely how that term is typically used.
Interesting.
I would call maybe a family room in the third floor, but a great room, it's got to include other components.
Right. Okay. Noted. Next up, 143 Honeywell Street, and again, a high visibility location. I think you and I both talked about this or had it on our radar for the deal of the month for the seller. This was obviously came out in the market at a number that was very, very high, and eventually worked its way down. And while it was, this was about space, I think is what the attitude was of the seller of this home, because unlike the houses that we looked at, the three before leading up to this one, this was 1,000 plus square feet bigger. You're talking about 5,800 square feet. So that's what the house had going for it. In my opinion, obviously it's a busy corner there. You're at the corner of Honeywell and Central, right? And on top of that, another thing we had talked about is it feels like it's a little bit of a tight lot, and then you have the porch or the deck off the rear that was elevated, so it's just above the fence, so you're kind of overlooking Central Avenue. So there were a couple things about this house that led us to believe that it would sell for less than the 1.4s, and so I think that the seller did get a good deal when you consider that it sold for $1.42 million, Ryan.
Yeah, when we walked out of there, I mean, our notion was that this house could potentially be over $300,000 overpriced.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's still your deal of the month for the seller. I mean, they still did well compared to what what maybe we saw this landing.
Yep.
It was part of, you remember, the two houses that day we said were combined $1 million. I
remember.
That other one still has yet to close, so we'll see where we are on that.
Stay tuned. 319 Hillcrest Road is more new construction here. This one sells for $1,655. Just an 8,200 square foot lot, Ryan. So not a huge lot, but a good spot. And the house is definitely, there's a good sized yard, and it was finished nicely, and it was staged.
Yeah, I mean, it's sold for $710. So I'm curious.
The lot did.
The lot did. So curious to see if that deal happens. Fast forwarding a few months, if we do have some zoning and some bylaw changes, if that house, as it was, still sells for $710.
Right. Okay.
And not a bad walk to Hershey train, Rob. Did the math. It's just under a mile, so we'll accept it.
Right.
9/10 of a mile.
Right. But it's not a bad walk. That's
not bad. It's not It's not a hop, skip, and a jump, but it's not bad.
It's not a bad walk.
I don't hate it.
Right. I don't hate the walk. That would have been great. 218 Bridle Trail Road. This is. It feels like you're getting a lot. In space, land, everything else for 187. That's a big reduction from the original.
It is, and it contributes to our 94% number from earlier in the show. So this is on paper, like you're looking at this and like it's got it's a really nice lot. It's got a pool. The third floor is an art studio. The basement's a walkout with a full kitchen, a game room, a theater, bedroom and full bath down there. I mean, it's a lot of space and it's a lot of features. It's also just a lot of 90s. So I think what kept it from being that $2 million property is today's buyers looking at it and seeing all of those things but then knowing, you know what, I'm going to have to probably put some cosmetic money into this, most likely to get it to where I want to be, and therefore can't really justify paying 2.45.
Right, but once they put the money in, it probably could be
Then
more
it's
close
worth,
to that.
Then it's worth 2.45.
Yep. The next house is our final home, Ryan. It's the big seller, and it's a big one indeed.
It is.
It's a spec project, actually, it looked like,
Yeah,
right? Built on spec.
New construction.
New construction. That's a good number. It's a good-looking house.
It really
for
is.
Sure. I mean, that is attractive.
Yeah, and it's our biggest seller. It's a 4th highest sale in the last 3 years.
Ooh.
So that's nice.
Hey now.
It's good to see us back over $2 million. We haven't had a $2 million sale in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to see that. Big house, 8,100 square feet, 6 beds, 6.5 or six full, 2 half baths, I believe.
Yes, correct.
It has an acre. And it looks like there's been a lot of landscaping done. I think this is a very thoroughly thought out, built, and executed house, and they did well.
Alrighty, there you have it. So that's the 26 sales right there. Next up is our news segment, very exciting. So we introduced it last month, and this is the first month that we're actually executing the new segment of the show. It's called the Question of the Month, where our viewers can send in a question. And congratulations, Margaret.
Yeah, way to go, Margaret. Yours was the most interesting.
Yes, it was.
So there were some candidates, and this one I think was a good one. And it's do you want to read the question?
Yes, thanks, Ryan. And we chose from a long list of them. I've been watching your show for years. My question is, why do you not cover the sale of condos and townhouses in Needham? Ryan, why don't you give your answer first and see if it's the same as mine?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's simply because I don't think that they can be combined. I think you're talking about two sets of data, the single-family data and the condo market. And so if you're going to run with both of those, you're doing more slides that just show you numbers and trends and things. And I think it's more, what we found at least, I think there's more interest in going through the individual sales than talking about numbers on a high level.
I would agree with that. But one suggestion that she did make, because there's a little bit more to it than that, was including perhaps at the year-end show, just to show a one-year picture of what happened in the condo market. And usually that time of year, we're a little bit light on content anyway, so maybe that's something we can do going forward. So
we'll put it in the cooker.
Yeah, for our 2018 year-end spectacular.
Not the 2017 one?
Well, I guess it would be, beginning of year spectacular. Yeah, I'm just trying to look ahead because it would air in January.
There's just so many spectaculars that
I know.
To keep them straight.
Agreed. So anyway, if you want, and so she's going to win a prize because
that's exciting.
Because we chose her question, and if you too want to be in the running and maybe have your question read on the air and get a prize as well, this is how you do it. It's the question of the month. Send an email to rob.ryan@hawthornre.com. And if we choose your question on the air, that means you are getting a prize. And just because you submit your question 1 month doesn't mean that question can't be selected 4 months later, right?
Oh, that's true.
So make sure you keep watching.
You can submit more questions. You don't have to just have one. It's not a one per person type thing.
Good point.
So if we hear from Margaret again, she's eligible.
Yes. But maybe not next month.
Well, you never know.
All right. Let's see. Listing picture of the month. Ryan's favorite segment.
Haven't seen it. Haven't seen it. Very excited.
Ryan hasn't seen it, and
all right.
It's granite.
Yeah.
There's Q-tips.
Yes, there are.
I mean, get rid of the Q-tips.
Get rid of the Q-tips.
Right.
It's like when you see like the toothpaste tube sitting there.
Yeah. We've had worse.
We've had more interesting listing pictures of the month.
Yeah, it's the March champion, but it's not going to win the annual championship.
Right. Unlike Margaret's question, that might not have won had there been other candidates.
Right. Good point.
Yeah. But it's still, hey, it made it into a listing.
Yes, exactly. Market snapshot. So here we go. I mean, it's spring.
It's puzzling, is what it is.
Well, it's puzzling when you compare this year, Ryan, to last year.
Right.
But when you compare this year to 2 years ago, the year of the ice dam, which we've talked about, it's actually right in line with April of 2015.
Okay.
So it's not like we're in uncharted territory here,
right.
But it is lower than you would think it would be, especially with how last year went down.
What we're seeing with these houses that are coming on the market right now, anything priced below 1.4 is going with multiple offers.
Yeah.
There is incredible demand out there. 46 active single-family homes. I think we're going to see some more coming on in the weeks ahead. Average listing price 1.5. Average days on market 102. I think that's going to come down. Price per square foot at $355. That's healthy.
Alrighty. So if anybody wants to get in touch with us, Ryan, if they want to ask a question, whether it be to get read on the air or if they want to have us take a look at their house, figure out what it's worth, what do they do?
They can call us, 781-707-6564. They can email us, rob.ryan@hawthornre.com. And you should follow us on Twitter. That handle is at Hawthorn_WMHW.
Well done, Ryan.
Thanks.
That'll do it for this edition of What's My House Worth. Thanks for joining us. We will see you again very soon.